measures of Bach's well-known and beloved Invention number 4 in D minor. This was a favorite of mine as a child. It was one of the first that I learned of all the inventions. And I've been teaching it for years and years, and with my last study of this piece, which has been going on for at least a year now, I have learned so many new things about it, and I have an expanded appreciation and awe for what is in this piece, and I can't wait to share it with you. So, in the key of D minor, the natural minor scale sounds like this. Those are all the white keys and the 1 B flat. The relative major, up a minor third, is the very same set of notes, just starting on the F. And he's going to use that relative F major in this piece. There are two other forms of minor in addition to the natural. The first is called the harmonic minor, and I'll play that for you now. And I'll call scale degrees. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So different. That raised C, the C sharp, is the 7th step in harmonic minor. Melodic minor, I'll call scale degrees. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Both the 6th and the 7th steps are raised on the way up and natural on the way down. Bach is going to use that also. When he wrote these pieces, he wrote them for his children, primarily, to teach them the different elements of composition and good piano playing, and above all, cantabile, in a singing style. And by playing this harmonic minor scale subject, we must sing it. I'm going to play it for you now, playing the subject as it sounds in measures 1 and 2 with just the soprano. Now this is in 3/8 time, so this is how the counts would be. It's a 2-measure subject. 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3. Then the bass answers. Left hand's the bass, right hand is the soprano. Those are our 2 voices. Down an octave. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2. That already has a plaintive quality to it, doesn't it? There's soul in this. There's pathos in this. And I think a lot of the reason is because of that step from the harmonic minor scale. That is actually, it looks like a second on paper, B to C, but it's a B flat and C sharp. That's actually a minor third, 3 half steps. And Bach chose, in writing the subject instead of the melody, he took the C sharp and inverted it, flipped it down the octave. That in itself, I think, is ingenious. And what happens by inverting the minor third, we get a major 6th. And that's the confusing part for the ear. This on paper spells a 7th, C to B, because they're right next door on the paper, what we see on the printed page. But what our ear hears is 9 half steps. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. If you heard that interval without this piece, you would say, well, that's a 6th. I'm just explaining this to you because there are 2 other types of 7ths in the piece. That would be the diminished. This would be the minor 7th, which is what we normally hear. And this, with 11 half steps or semitones, is a major 7th. And on paper, they all look like 7ths. Very interesting. Could be confusing for the newer student. Bach is going to use primarily a minor seventh in this piece. He will have one major seventh, and he will of course have this diminished seventh for the subject material because it's built on the harmonic minor scale. Okay, so now I'm going to do what I like to do in shaping the subject. I'm going to leave off, in the two measures, I'm going to leave off one note. I'm going to leave off the C sharp and listen to what we have. I will count. I'm going to play the 3 different entries. 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3. 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and. I'm doing this for a reason. I'm highlighting for you what's in the subject based on that melody line of the ascending and descending. We actually have 2 different phrases, and that's where the cantabile comes in. 1 and 2 and 3 and little tiny breath there. Now when I put the C sharp in, 1 and 2 and 3 and 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 1. See, I purposely went as long as I could without taking a breath. You've got to take a breath somewhere. As a pianist, we forget that sometimes. You could play the whole piece just holding your breath, but that's very unmusical, not natural, and you're missing the whole point. By putting your breath into it, you're putting the meaning into the phrases. You're putting your heart, you're putting your soul and your literal physical breathing into it. So there is counterpoint here. In measures 3 and 4, the soprano has these broken chords, and the next 2 measures, the bass has, if we compare those two, both hands, those are identical chords. First inversion of our D minor triad. The other 2 chords, however, sound a little bit different, don't they? Very interesting comparing those. These are the same, but look where the E's are. The top of this one and the bottom of that one. So what Bach is doing here is giving a disguised 5 chord, and he's omitting the 5th scale degree. The 5 is the A. And if I put that A in these chords, what that is really is a 5/7 chord inverted. And the point for me is to bring out the difference. Meaning. It all has meaning. It's nice to know intellectually, yes, those are 5 chord derivatives, but the music in them. A lot in this already, isn't there? So now I'm going to play exactly the opening, 6 measures, hands together, and I'm going to go on with something. Breathe. Always breathe before you start. What did we have there? And then 4 notes going up and dropping down a step. The broken octave. That was a 2-measure phrase that repeated identically just down a step. That's called a sequence. This piece is loaded with sequences. There are 7 on the first page alone. Sequences, and the interval of the 7th is what the piece is going to be a lot based on. Above that, in measure 7, in the soprano, listen to what Bach does. See if you hear any repetition of material. Starting on the F. E. Well, I'm sure you did hear it was a two-measure phrase identically repeated down the step. And what was that phrase? Does it sound like something we've heard before? Well, it is. Instead of going up the 6 notes of our opening subject, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, down the 7th and up the 7th, Bach is starting from the 3rd above, the F, dropping down and going up 5 notes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, down the 7th and up. And the repetition on E, I call it variation A. That variation A always starts with the broken 3rd, going up the 5 notes. Now do you see how beautiful that is to phrase the descending line? And then the bass answers exactly in the next measure, starting on the B flat. It's a sequence, but listen to how many repetitions we have. Starting B flat, A, E. He repeated it 3 times. That was a longer sequence. The first 2 were diatonic because they went from the B flat down a step in the scale, A. This is a 4th lower on the E, not a diatonic sequence. So he's using both types of sequences, right next door and then with skipping. Above that bass sequence, listen to what the soprano does in measure 11. It's another variation. See if you can hear what's different about it. Well, it had the dropping 7th, but instead of going up the 6 notes, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of our opening subject, he takes the first 3 and repeats them. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and down the 7th, rest, rest. In this case, a step lower now. Rest, rest. It's the only variation that does not have non-stop 16th notes. Now I'm going to play something which I found very interesting in my practicing. I'm going to take the soprano for the 2nd and 3rd system, and I'm going to, on the 2nd downbeat of those 2 measures, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, I'm going to emit that note, and let's see how we hear the other outline. I'm getting to something very important here. I'm going to count. 1 and 2 and 3 and 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 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Now I'm going to play with the left hand the note that I omitted and see what is emerging from this. Bach is doing something very interesting here. Starting measure 7. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. And those notes are what? Well, they are. They're the indication of the F major tonality. Starting 4, 3, 2, 1. He's hiding that. It's just so fascinating. Before I go any further, I absolutely must show you what I'm looking at here. I'm looking at a brand new engraving that I made. I invented this new format. It has never been done this way before. It's the only edition in the world that you'll see the music like this. I have re-engraved every note that is in the original manuscript in a new format. I took the 11 inches by 17 inches wide landscape. This is a larger size paper. And because it's so wide this way, I was able to get long stretches of music that is impossible on traditional 8.5 by 11 music. You can't, there's just not enough width to get 6 measures, or 8 measures, or 9 that we have in page 2. Now this has got a lot of colors. You get these colors in another format, but I put them on the working copy here for the lesson only. Your copy comes like this. Beautiful, pristine, clean, black and white, lots of space, so that you can see the sections of the piece that are in the piece. You can understand immediately by looking at this how Bach was constructing the piece. And it's all built logically and intelligently by motives and key areas. Just a quick little peek here. I chose red for the opening subject. You saw it happen 3 times. Our variation A, I chose the color orange. Here, 2 measures down a step, that 2 measure sequence. Here's our variation B in blue. And then variation A 3 times. So that's a long sequence. Now I'm going to put the hands together and play systems 2 and 3. A little bit slower. I love slow practice. There's so much to hear and take in with a slow practice. Starting measure 7. Now listen to this. 2 variations together. Variation B, variation A. 1, 2, 3, 1. Isn't that gorgeous? Falling 7th. Sequence down a step. 1, 2, 3, 1. Parallel writing. Parallel tense. And that's the F major cadence he was leading to. In the right hand there, in measure 16, is an exact statement of the descending F major 5-finger pattern. And because they're parallel tenths, you could bring it up like this. And hear very clearly. But separating them with this distance of a tenth gives the space to it. And also the power of doubling the idea with the 2 voices as a duet. And at the end, the 2 C's and F, announcing the new key of F major. The 5 dominant and the 1, the F. Alright, are you ready to see what he does next, now that he's in F major? Let me play the left hand alone and see. What is that? Well, up 6 notes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Down a 7th, up a 7th. Now repeating a 3rd higher on the A. It's a sequence in our opening subject material. And these happen to have the minor 7ths. Even that, you can see the dissonance in a minor 7th. It sounds so harmonious within the context. Now going on, oh my goodness, disturbing interval. That's actually variation B, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, altered. Instead of down the 7th, he's going down the minor 5th, the F sharp. Instead of here, he's doing this. Such an incredible difference, isn't it? That 1/2 step. That's a tritone. 1, 2, 3. The most dissonant interval. Rest, rest. Repeat it down a step. It's a sequence. Rest, rest. Those 2 intervals. Where could he possibly be taking us? Certainly not F major anymore. Now above that, with the soprano, measure 18, listen to what we have. We know we're F major. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1. Would you like to sing that part? Well, you might if you got to put a trill above it. And in this style, in this period, when we have a long tied note like this with 1 pitch, we generally add an ornament, and in this case a trill, above it, the upper auxiliary, that next note up in the scale, and just go back and forth. There are a few ways to do the trill. You can do a measured trill, and with both hands together that would sound like this. That's 2 in the right hand for 1 in the left. You could slow the trill down and turn it into a triplet. That's a great way of teaching 2 against 3 rhythm, 3 against 2 in this case. That's what you're going to be hearing. To do it is a free trill, and that means I don't count anything. I just shake it out and brrr. Just like I look at beautiful vibrato. The singer, you know, it's still the C pitch. It's just expanded a little bit, has just a little warmth to it, a little color to it, and it also has energy, and it's going to spill something out. Listen to this, up to tempo with the free trill. Oh my goodness, how wonderful was that? What did he spew out there? It was another variation. That variation is called the subject inverted. And instead of going up 6 notes, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and down your 7th, he's coming down the 6 notes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This is altered. It's up a 6th instead of up a 7th. Then drops the 7th. And repeats again, so we know it's another sequence. Very beautiful. Hands together. Listen to this now. This is amazing. Very complex. Slowly opens up the world for you of this piece. Oh, it's just so beautiful. I could spend 10 minutes just on those 4 measures. And that concludes our page 1, and also gives me the wonderful chance to show you my favorite part of the entire chart package that you get as digital downloads from my website, sallychristianmusic.com. This is what I consider the most valuable part of this entire package, because it shows the entire piece on one 11 by 17 piece of paper, this time with the long direction from north to south. This is exactly the 2-page working copy arrangement of systems. This is page 1, 2, 3, 4. We have ended right here. Page 2, systems 1, 2, 3, 4. And these are the colors that you get. And I made a key code. I gave the subject, 2-measure opening subject, in red. I took variation A in the orange and variation B in the blue. The inverted subject I put in the green, and there is a variation C coming. I saved yellow for that. We're just about there. And then before we leave this, I'd like you just to take a look and see the absolute genius of structure and logic. How Bach, after the variation C, weaves back into the orange, variation A. See, second to the last systems are the orange. And then the red to close. Absolute proportion and balance and logic, leading psychologically and musically to something very extraordinary. So you can get your head around the whole piece, seeing it like this. And you can also, for your travel copy, this is another beautiful benefit of the charts, print them out on your home printer, just on the regular 8.5 by 11. I like to put everything in a sleeve and put it in a binder. And then I can take this with me. If I'm out of town for a few days, I can just have this little binder and have everything right here and study it like a conductor would. And that's a very valuable practice in itself, to play the whole piece through in your mind and hear everything and know where you are without the tactile memory of the hands. Very powerful. I'm going to play now the bottom of page 1, System 4, as written, hands together, and I'm going to go right on with something. F major we are. Listen how long we stay in F major. Not long at all. And then where are we going? So beautiful there. Powerful. That's another joined voice dialogue. Bach is doing that. Remember this one? To announce the new key of F major? Well, it also announced the extended trill that was coming. And this one is announcing a new key and another extended trill, an even longer extended trill. But before we do that, we have 3 measures to discuss here. Starting measure 26, listen to what we have in the soprano. This is the top of page 2. Well, that's just straight subject in its opening material, isn't it? In the harmonic minor. Of what key? Well, you know that's A harmonic minor. And so those are working together to complete that scale. The bass there, very powerful. That's a 6-5-1 cadence. He's going to do it twice in the piece. And I engraved page 2 so that these 3 measures would be standalones because they are pivotal harmonically as a structure of the piece. The 6th scale degree, the 5th, E, with the E major triad above it, outlining that new tonality, and then the tonic, subject material in the soprano. But we don't know for sure if we're in A minor or not. Where we end up is right here. Is this? Is it E major? Where's it going? We don't know. This E, being the new dominant, is the left hand, the bass trill. Instead of 3 measures, it gets 5 measures. I'm going to play this trill with a free trill and continue on for the entire 9 measures of this beautiful, glorious, long paragraph in the piece. This, to me, is the culmination of the entire piece. And he saves it. Counting out loud and playing left hand alone. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Resolve. And it resolves on the A. We have arrived on the A minor. Above that now this really gets exciting. Splendid, really. We have a little wind-up measure in measure 29, and I count out loud, I have 1, 2, 3, 4. And so it's 6 notes going up, but dropping a 5th, and then up the 7th. Instead of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, down. So it's another variation, variation C. And remember at the beginning I said he was going to use melodic minor too? Here it is in the subject variation C. A melodic minor. See, he's teaching us these things in the most gorgeous way. We don't know we're learning harmony in theory when we learn this, but we are. And we're training our ears, we're training our fingers, and we're learning about the elements of composition, which is what he wanted us to learn. So I am going to, now that you know it's variation C, accompany each downbeat with the left hand in an octave. And I want you to listen to that harmony of what's coming. Okay. It's a sequence. So those beat notes, the downbeats, are outlining that. Here's that phrasing. On the 6th, and then the 7th, and again. It's just so splendid. It's absolutely fabulous. What's happening there at the end of that 9-measure phrase? Listen to this. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1. Because of the tied 1, we now have a longer note here and here and here. And that's creating a Gajic accents. It's turning it into a 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 1, 1. And below that, the bass is keeping the 3. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1. And we put them together, we get a polyrhythm to close the end of it. It's just so exciting. Landing on the single A. Where else have we landed on a single pitch? Well, at the bottom of page 1. Introducing that new key of F major. And that brings me to one of the fabulous things about these charts. Why I did them in the first place, actually, was for memory security and thorough learning and quick learning. So every one of these new systems is a new start point for you in your practicing. And then you will get the finger memory. When you're here on page 2, system 3, you know you have the 2 A's together. Fingerings are written. You can start there. You can start right here. This is a great place as a start point. I even put it in my music here. Start point. Jump point. I made that word up, jump point. Actually, my husband and I made it up together when I was playing a lot of concerts in public, especially concerti with orchestra is the most nerve-wracking because it's always for memory. And if you knew the sections of that piece out of context and what notes they were and what fingers they played and practiced them that way, you had a security that you couldn't get otherwise. And this is built-in security for you. If you only have 10 minutes to practice, start at page 2 at the top. And slowly, of course. Start here. Start here. Start here. Do you see my point? It's all laid out for you. It's just wonderful. I'm incredibly elated to have been born in this day and age of digital technology that I could even do this. I've been having a dream of this for the last 15 years and it's become realized. I'm so grateful because I want to help people. I want to share the powerful ways of learning in a secure way so we can take some of the stress out of performing from memory. It doesn't have to be such a difficult experience. It's still difficult, but it doesn't have to make you sick to your stomach, which anybody that's played from memory knows what I'm talking about. Okay, So here we are now wrapping up the piece at system 3, and I'm going to do something a little different here. I'm going to play the counterpoint. Soprano, bass. Soprano, bass. Now I'm going to play the other parts, which we know are the subject variations. Starting with that A. Well, we know that's variation A. Just altered the entry. Then the next repetition, measure 40, soprano gets it in the original form, dropping down the third. Next measure, what do we have? Interesting. What key is this? What scale is it? Ready? He snuck in a D melodic minor there, starting on the third scale degree of F. Very beautiful. Now hidden. And I did these 6 measures as a unit. These are packed 6 measures. They're dense. You can see there's a lot of different material going on here. And it's all a modulation to lead us to our recapitulation home here. The hidden harmonies in here are the A, the G minor, the F, the E, of course, and the D is here. Beautiful. Ingenious. It's in there. So now that we are at the recapitulation, I was just so thrilled. I just couldn't believe this. Let me show you the satellite view again. So we had the 3 opening articulations of the subject on the 3 different Ds. Bach was going to choose 2 of these for his recapitulation, and he started from this and then went to here. And he took these 2 measures, 5 and 6, and did them identically down here to start the last system of the piece. Measures 44 and 45 are identical to measures 5 and 6. Do you see the splendidness of this? This is Bach's mind at work. And then he took the same place of this subject entry in the bass and did it exactly the same way down here. The counterpoint's a little different here. Now let's look at that counterpoint. Let's start at the bottom of our last system of the piece. We've returned to D minor. That's a shock. Quite dissonant. Here's joint voice dialogue, the third one. Cadence. And above that he does one last inverted subject in the soprano, 6 notes down, altered though up a 4th, and down a 7th. Let's put the hands together here. This is quite beautiful. Parallel 6th here. Now he saves one last. That's the inversion of our opening material. Isn't that wonderful? The reference to that. That second there. Oh, it's just absolutely beautiful. And there's that breath. 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and single So that is the analysis of your D minor invention number 4. Knowing that you have your jump points and you can practice these and be fully prepared gives you the peace of mind. I always tell myself before going on stage and playing from memory, I've done the best I can preparing. Whatever comes out of this performance today is the best I can do. And then I can be kind to myself. If it's one of the better times, great. If it's one of the worst times, you know, over the whole gamut, it's all going to come out to balance itself out. But the point is, you can relax and enjoy your own performance. And you can get into the beauty of the piece, not worrying about all the little details. Those details you packed in the practice room. But you go out and play. Trust that these are all in there. I tell myself, your mind and your fingers know what to do. Your mind and your fingers know what to do. It's a little mantra. I have all kinds of mantras I do before performances, and they help. But the bottom line is, I know I'm prepared. So in your preparation, your joyful, intelligent, thorough, and consistent preparation will give you the foundation, the security, and then the freedom to play your best and give this back to the world. Thank you.